Ambassador Atul Keshap, former ambassador of US to India and President, US-India Business Council, is joining us. Atulji, very thanks for your time. How different do you think this visit of the Indian Prime Minister is to the US this time? Not just for Narendra Modi, but for any Indian PM.
Shivani, I think that this is a strategic, economic, and technological shadi between the two greatest democracies on earth.
Right.
And so I think that it really sets a very firm and strong and optimistic trajectory for the future of relations between the American and Indian people.
Okay. Like, we keep talking about how Indo-US relationships are going a notch above or higher every year. So how do you read this relationship? Are we truly in a new era of this relationship between these two countries? And if so, in what sense?
Yes, I think we are in a new era. When I came to the relationship back in 1994, when I joined my federal career, there was a lot of acrimony, if not outright hostility, between Washington and New Delhi on many different things. Over the course of the nuclear deal and much effort since then, I think we have really built out a truly mature and important and mutually relevant relationship, strategically and, of course, now economically and technologically. What is interesting to me with this visit is that both sides are avoiding the rancor of the past, you know, the sort of, oh, you did this in 1960, whatever, and you did that in 1980. These things are in the past. And so I think it reflects a real maturity in the U.S.-India relationship that allows us to build a very strong foundation going forward. So yes, we are in a new era, and it's an era marked by strategic, economic, and technological equations.
You talked about the rancor of the past. Now, there is some criticism in India that while the administration in the US is looking at India differently and positively, there are some sections that continue to deride India, including sections of the media. So is there a dissonance in the way the American government and establishment is looking at India and how some other interest groups do?
Well, the fantastic thing about free nations is that people can speak their opinions and suffer no recriminations. And I think that's true in India. It's true in America. Ours are free and open societies. And our governments have decided that whatever may have been in the past, we have a bright future of convergence ahead of us. I talked about the strategic, economic, and technological shadi. The fact of the matter is we have shared strategic apprehensions about what's going on in the Indo-Pacific, and therefore we have shared strategic convergence in the Indo-Pacific. So if you look at the initiative on critical and emerging technologies that we launched at the U.S. Chamber with both governments, if you look at Indus-X, which is the defense startup collaboration that we're launching tonight and tomorrow at the U.S. Chamber, we are fully supportive of this convergence, strategic, economic, and technological. Look, we can just stay in the past and we can focus on our pain and hurt and recriminations, or we can look to the future. My view on this is if we just sit mired in the past, the only people who'll be happy about it are our shared enemies and adversaries. And if we look to the future, then our enemies and adversaries start to get very nervous. So my view is Delhi and Washington for the win, free people for the win, free societies for the win.
Well, one could argue there are some adversaries and enemies that are already getting a little, they're getting furrowed eyebrows. But I want to ask you about the economic and business ties that you mentioned. How do you see India and US advancing in this regard? Because, you know, this is an area you work very closely in. What is it that you're looking forward from this visit?
Shivani, I'm very optimistic. I want to see really strong progress in semiconductors, electronics ecosystem, fabless ecosystem. I want to see big defense deals, energy deals that bind our two economies even closer together, energy transition deals. I want to see movement across the digital economy to make the United States and India even more of the prime movers in the global digital economy. There is so much that we can do between us if we have deal flow in both directions. Your companies and investors coming to America, our companies and investors coming to India, millions and millions and millions of people working happily in the most advanced companies on earth, American and Indian. Look, the companies in my membership represent trillions of dollars in market capital, millions of employees, immense technological and managerial and environmental sophistication. These are companies that can help change the world and lift hundreds of millions of people out of poverty and give them better lives and greater choice. I am bullish on what we can do together if we get past the past and look to the future.
Okay. My final question to you. The Prime Minister has given an interview to the Wall Street Journal where he said that I present my country to the world the way it is and myself the way I am. I want to understand from you, having been in India and, of course, worked in the US, how is Mr. Narendra Modi being looked at in the US?
I think people all around my country have noticed how dynamic India is of late. The amount of change in just the last 10 years is unbelievable in terms of infrastructure and capability and GDP and per capita income and quality of lives and the choices Indian people have. I think Americans, by and large, genuinely respect and admire India. You know, think about when I was a little boy and moved back home to the United States when I was 12 years old. I was the only Indian American kid in my hometown that I could see. Nowadays, every American knows the words karma and yoga and dharma. And I think these are India's great contributions to the world. Indian civilization is a very bright civilization. Indians contribute to the strength and happiness of countries all around the world, including the United States. The genius and power of India is, I think, a good thing in world affairs, especially when you contrast it with some of the other great powers out there that are frankly in no way offering a good way forward in world affairs. So India is a bright light, and Americans feel very happy about India. And that's why this state visit by Prime Minister Modi is a really big and happy deal. Again, a strategic, economic, and technological shadi.
Right, a wedding. Strategically, economically, and technologically. Thanks a lot, Ambassador Atul Keshap, for joining us. Let's hope, as he said, the Indo-US ties continue to go a notch higher and higher.